Santa Rosa, California. And I'm with Christopher Nejman now, making his beautiful purses. And I make my own clothes, so you too can sew, no matter how old you are. I'm 83, and I golf twice a week. And Pam has really good classes. I think she has a new
garment fitting. She's got them lined up in the waiting list already.
And they're all lined up on the waiting list, so you too can sew. So have a nice day. I can't talk anymore.
Your garments are beautiful. I've met you before, Lil, and I've seen your clothes, and you are just impeccable. You're the Coco Chanel of the home sewing world.
Thank you.
And every time I hear a lady around your age group saying we don't sew clothes for ourselves because we can't fit ourselves, what kind of words of encouragement do you have for them to help them?
Just do it. You have to. And that's the fun of being 83, is you can do anything you want.
And all that experience of sewing all those years allows you to make beautiful clothes like this.
Thank you, Chris.
Did you ever work professionally as a garment designer or sewer?
No.
You didn't?
I learned all this through Pam and her classes.
Here in Santa Rosa at the sewing place with Pam Cortez. Because she offers a diversity of sewing, doesn't she?
Yes.
Sewing, quilting, embroidery, everything.
Exactly.
Lil, let me ask you something while I'm interviewing you. Do you encourage people to be diverse in their sewing rooms?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Try everything?
Everything.
And don't limit themselves.
That's right. And it just comes, after a while, it just comes naturally.
It does, and my gosh, you're beautiful. In a minute, I'm going to edit this so I can see the whole back of your jacket and everything you do. And like I said, every time I see you, you are impeccable. You are an inspiration to many people. In this economy, when people say we don't know how to fit ourselves, we don't know how to sew, there are classes being set up, there's sewing books and videos they can buy, DVDs, and you are the true inspiration that we can still look impeccable with our own hands today.
Thank you. Another thing I'm doing at Pam's is making clothes for troops.
For troops.
Yes.
That's nice. See, you quilt and you make impeccable clothing.
Yes.
So you're a diversified sewer.
Yes.
And you just sewing, quilting, and you do so much embroidery also, don't you?
Oh, yes. And purses.
And purses.
I like the one I'm making today.
You're going to look good in it too. Lil, I want to thank you, and thank you for talking to the whole world and encouraging them to pick up that sewing machine and go out and take classes and learn and expand their genres of sewing.
Thank you.
You're beautiful.
And I'm learning a lot with Chris, believe me.
Okay, thank you, Lil.
And I'm here today to try to show you a little bit about what you can do with sewing. I love to quilt, I love to sew, I love to embroider, and I love to mix all of them together. This is one of the garments that I've created using embroidery. So I made the jacket, and I really like to make my own things because one, it allows me to get my embroidery exactly where I want it, but also it's going to fit me. Unfortunately, as we get older, we're not the cookie cutter shapes that they put on the shelves. So I can fit for a bigger bust, a larger hip, bigger waist, and it just makes it, and I enjoy it because then I can say I've done the whole thing. So again, made the jacket, embroidered on the sleeves, the back, made a pair of pants to go with it. This can be worn with camisole, nice little blouse underneath it. But as you diversify your sewing, you do more. You're just going to have a lot more fun, and that's what sewing's all about.
Debbie, I'm really impressed with this when I saw it. I had no idea this was custom made. And I was blown away not only by the embroidery, but when I looked inside and saw, can I peek, show me your lining? the way it's lined and everything. Debbie, how do people learn to fit and how do they learn to make garments?
There's several different ways. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't have time to take college classes, but you have classes online. You can get videos for fitting. Nancy's Notion has several fitting videos. I think
Threads Magazine has a bunch too.
Threads Magazine has now kind of gone back to the basics. Almost every issue now has an article on fitting. And then they do have all of those archived on DVD, so you can do it in the privacy of your own home. What more can we ask for? We can learn on our own schedule.
We can. I'm just blown away by this outfit. This is just definitely something you can wear out to a nice dinner for a special occasion, a wedding, New Year's Eve. It's just beautiful, and I know you love stilettos, so this looks great with those too.
Well, you know what, Christopher, when I learned to sew years ago, I was in college.
Okay.
But I have never had the skinny body type that everybody has.
I don't think many of us have not.
I'm straight.
Well, no kidding. No kidding. That's why you love me so much.
I don't have the waistline that a lot of people have. You know, I had the bust.
Yes.
I had small hips.
Yes.
But in proportion to my hips, my waist was very large. So when I went to look for women's pants, they didn't fit. Because if I bought them for my waist size, they were too big in the hips.
And I hear, and that's opposite what I'm hearing today. I get a lot of ladies write me and say, we're big girls, we're curvy girls, and we're older, so we don't make clothes anymore because we don't know how, or we're too big. So, you know, but yet I see ladies on the road all the time that are doing this, and this is what I'm saying, let's encourage them and tell them where they can get the education to learn how to make clothes for themselves. And Debbie, where do you find your fabrics? That's another thing they say. You know, their excuses, they can find quilting fabrics, but they can't find sewing fabrics.
Well, you know what? Every Joann's and Beverly's, those kinds of stores, they do carry dress fabrics. Maybe not as many as they used to, but they still do.
Right.
And if you're willing to look, go back and shop, you're going to find that. I still find some nice fabric stores here and there. They might be a little more expensive, but you're sewing for, you know, my garments will last me 10, 15 years. You use a classic pattern, it can still be, a blouse can still be in your closet, you know, 10 years from now and still look wonderful. And
I've gotten something I learned from some of my students is they'll go shop at the Goodwill, Salvation Armies, find old wedding gowns, old bridesmaid gowns, cut them apart because, and they teach all that at Project Runway too when they do their challenges. Project Runway is a wealth of inspiration for deconstruct, reconstruct, where to find things.
Love that show. And you're right, it does show you how to deconstruct. And you know, you can cut stuff up and use it in parts.
Yes. Even old clothes in your closet.
Exactly.
Mary Malari from Nancy Nejman, she's always on her show, is always showing you how to take old clothes and make little trinkets or something that's usable. She recycles. I mean, that's another part of the recycling movement, the going green.
Exactly.
So there's all kinds of things we could do. I think, do you feel when people say they can't find this, can't do it, it's just an excuse because they don't want to do it?
Well, maybe they don't know what to look for.
Okay.
They're so used to going to a shop that only features one thing like quilt fabrics. You need to go out, explore. One of my favorite places to shop for jacket fabric is upholstery stores.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can find some beautiful fabrics for jacket that are actually designed for upholsteries.
Now, another thing too, I tell people is say, you know, like, I'm not a quilter, but I learned quilting techniques to take me where I'm at. People who people who are garment sewers that didn't quilt, like we have a lady in our class today who is a teacher at the fashion design school that came to my class, and she doesn't quilt, but she was really encouraged when she saw some quilting techniques we were doing, like using freezer paper and stuff. So learning all the different genres and gelling them together, do you believe is a great way of expanding your creativity in your sewing room?
Oh, I do. You know, quilting is going to show you how to sew straight seams. We all need straight seams.
Match points.
Match points. You know,
geometrics.
You put in a gusset or something like that. What is it but putting points into a piece of fabric?
Absolutely.
The techniques go hand in hand. Years ago, we used to do, before embroidery machines, we used to do the free motion embroidery.
That's how I learned.
Well, you know what? If you can free motion embroidery, you can quilt. If you can quilt, you can do free motion embroidery.
That's absolutely right.
The techniques are the same We're just using them different.
And fashion sewing teaches you the different seams, proper fitting,
Right.
and how to edit.
Right.
Because a lot of quilters will take what they make and try to put it in a jacket and they look like a bedspread walking around.
Right.
Which is not complimentary to them.
That reminds me of the 60s when quilting and the quilted clothing, and we did.
Yeah.
We did look like we had.
So the girls that are full figure that say, you know, they can't fit themselves are walking around looking even bigger with a quilt they're wearing.
Right.
So that's one thing about fashion is they teach you how to edit, in which they don't teach you how to edit in the quilting world, but they teach you the really good techniques in the sewing and matching and things like that.
And once you get a good fitting garment, I mean, you can stay with that style and change it.
Right.
A basic blouse, you can change the collar, you can change the sleeves, but once the body of it fits, you're in.
There you go.
You know, and you don't have to use your expensive fabric. You know, fit yourself in muslin, use something inexpensive, and then you know what, that can be cut apart. And you know, you fit like a basic shell or something like that. So you know, you can use that fabric. Go buy that $1 a yard stuff for the practice piece to get the fitting correct. Then you know what your pattern's going to be. You know it's going to fit. Because I think a lot of people jump full bore into a garment. They spend a lot of money on the fabric
Instead of learning the basics of sewing first.
and they don't know for sure that it's going to fit.
I did that too.
Exactly,
I was
we
21,
all
I
have.
wanted to sew. I didn't know about taking lessons. I got a machine, thought I could do it. In the closet it went. That's what happened to many of us.
Right.
So Debbie, first of all, I want to say thank you very much. And one thing I want to leave us with, I saw in Nancy Zeman, one of her TV shows, she had said, I actually have the video, the DVD I was watching, and she said she didn't know how to do a certain swimming stroke, so she took lessons. She didn't know how to do certain pages on a computer, so she took lessons. And she tells people, she says, if you don't know how, take lessons.
Exactly.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Christopher.
Lovely outfit.